Welcome to another edition of the McAnulty Method. We're here with financial expert Frank McAnulty, who's going to share his knowledge and insights with us so that we might live a happier financial life. Frank, good to see you.
Bill, good to be seen. Good to be here again. Always happy to be doing these talks.
Well, and we're happy to have you. We have a very interesting little question today, and that is, how important is it for a student or anyone who's never had a credit card or has no credit history to get a credit card?
Well, it's become more and more and more important these days than it ever used to be. For this simple reason that almost everything now is tied to your credit history. You apply for a car insurance, they look at your credit history. You apply for a job, they look at your credit history. Anything important now, people look at your credit history because, quite honestly, I guess they've decided that if you have good credit history, you're probably better at handling other things in your life.
I guess that makes sense. It's a little frightening. So what do you do if you don't have a card? I mean, if you have no credit history, I guess you have no history at all.
Well, and that it's the same thing with people going out and just starting their career and looking for a job. Well, it says I need experience, but I just graduated, so how do I get experience? So yes, credit's the same way. How do we get credit? And for the most part, most people start with a credit card because they're easy to get. And because companies love to give out credit cards, they want you to use them because that's how they earn fees.
Now, here's a question. If you're in school, if you're a student, does that make it easier for you to get a credit card?
Oh, sure. You'll get, if you're in college, junior college, four-year college, whatever college, the credit card companies will inundate you with offers to get credit cards because, one, they assume you're going to start getting a better job. And two, I hate to say they're doing this on purpose, but they're sort of hoping that you run up a balance that you can't pay it all off at once. So they start to earn interest off you. Now, you need them, but they want to make money off you. And so you have to be very careful on how you use a credit card. That's the key.
All right. Now, again, to use it, you've got to get it. So if you're not a student, is there any way you can get a credit card?
Sure. And it may be a credit card with just $100 balance. It doesn't matter. You don't need a lot. The key is to use it every month for things that you would pay for otherwise, and then pay it off every month so that it shows you're building a credit history. I get credit every month. I pay off the credit every month. That's what they're looking for. That's all a credit history is about, is do you consistently pay your bills on time? Notice I said pay it off every month. I didn't say pay the minimum balance, because as soon as you start paying the minimum balance, you're paying the credit card company a whole lot of interest on what you just paid $5 for. You're going to pay, for the next 12 months a little bit on, and end up costing you $6 or $7 by the time you're done. So the key is, two real reasons to have a credit card. One is to build your credit history. Two is for true emergencies. Now, we all, hopefully no one has a true emergency, but if you do, it is handy to have. And that may be a case where you do have to make payments to pay it off. Your car broke down, you need $1,000 to fix it. You don't have $1,000, but you got to get to work. So you put it on the credit card. Even then, the key is pay that balance off as quickly as possible, because otherwise you're just paying the credit card company more of your money that you don't want to give to them.
Must be why they are so successful.
Well, you would In the state of California, you're considered a loan shark if you lend money to somebody at over 12% as an individual. And loan shark's a bad thing. You all know loan shark's a bad thing, right? Well, credit card companies charge, I would say on average, 18% interest. Sometimes with a new borrower, a new person with a credit card, their interest rate may be 24, 28%. Now, they can do that because they have something called a lender's license. So they're a licensed lender, so they can charge whatever rate they want. But do you really want to pay somebody 24% interest on what you're putting on your credit card? That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. Now, obviously, not paying off your balance and making the minimum payments, that's a huge mistake. Are there any other mistakes you can make with a credit card as someone who's never had one before that you might not know about or even think about?
Well, missing a payment, just forgetting and missing it, because now that's a black mark. Let's see, the best way to use a credit card is, we'll go from best to worst. Best way, use it. You're going to build credit. So use it for what you need, what you buy anyways during a month. Put the money aside. Make sure you're keeping the money aside for what you're putting on the credit card. Pay it off each month. You're golden. Train yourself to do that for the rest of your life. You'll be very happy. The credit card companies do not like me because there's probably only been 5 or 6 times in my life where I've paid them any interest. I don't want them to pay them interest. That's my money. The credit card companies make money every time you charge something. They get a fee from the merchant. They don't need interest from me too. Trust me, Visa and MasterCard are making a lot of money. The medium way to use a credit card is you use it, then you make the minimum payments. Well, now you're paying them interest, and you're going to be paying them forever on what you just bought. And then you're going to add more to that. And so your minimum payment's going to go up and your interest is going to go up. And it just becomes a bad treadmill to get on because you're just building up debt that you need to pay. And it's not even debt that you got something for, because it's interest that you don't need to pay interest on. So that's number 2. And the third way, the worst thing you can have happen with a credit card is you miss a payment, because now that really whacks your credit score. But wait, they didn't make a payment. They're in default. Yeah, you say, oh, no big deal, 1 month. Trust me, it's a big deal. It shows up on your credit report and stays there for quite a while. They missed a payment. Now, you make 100 payments in a row right on time. You miss one, it's like, oh, bad person. So, but back to the point of, you really do need to get a credit card. But maybe the best one to get is one with only $100 balance.
There you go.
You can't get in that much trouble, right?
You'd think.
Well,
now, let me ask you. I've heard that it's easier to get a credit card if you're a straight A student or you're going to like an Ivy League school or some expensive college. Is that true? And why?
Will you possibly get more offers for credit card if you're in Harvard? Yeah, probably, because their expectation is, well, this person's going to graduate from Harvard and make 6 figures right out of the gate. We need them using our card. But I don't think. Sure. So will you not get? You might not get an American Express offer if you're going to a regional college or just a regular old college. Who cares? Who needs American Express? Not everybody takes it anyways. I mean, I have one. I have a Visa. I have a MasterCard. I have one of everything. But it's just, but that's mainly because I love getting miles. Another great reason to have a credit card. If you need to spend money every month on stuff, get one with a good mileage program. So you can get free flights. I mean, I know people that have used their credit cards in their businesses, and they end up, you know, decent sized business. You can charge $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year to your credit card. If you have a mileage card, now you have 2, 3, 400,000 miles on your credit card to use to take flights. That's a great perk. And even if you don't charge that much, over time, say, you know, even at 7, 8, 9, 10 years, the miles add up, and eventually, ooh, I get a free trip. So it's like anything, a credit card's a tool. Learn how to use the tool properly, and it's a great thing. Yeah. Don't use a tool properly, and you get hurt.
There you go. You're talking to a guy that always grabs a wrench and uses it like a hammer. All right, you talked a little bit about how not having a credit card can really hold someone back because then you have no history. Are there any other glaring reasons, things that could go wrong if you don't have a credit card?
Well, just, you know, I'm only if there's an emergency comes up and you need money, you need to pay something.
Right.
It happens. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Things just happen. My brother was in a head-on collision a month or so ago, and his car was totaled by the insurance company. And look, he needed to rent a car. Fortunately, he wasn't hurt badly, but he needed to rent a car that day so he could get to work. And so he needed a credit card to do that. You want to travel, you want to go someplace. If they, motels like to have a credit card. You don't even have to use it all the time. Get it, use it once to show them that you're doing it, pay it off, put it in a drawer until you're going to use it again. For vacations and that, it's much easier, probably a lot smarter to have a credit card to use for most things rather than a big wad of cash in your pocket. You lose the credit card, okay, not the end of the world. You lose a wad of cash, well, that's still not the end of the world, but a lot worse than just you losing a credit card where you can call up and say, hey, I lost my credit card. Make sure no one charges anything to me.
I get offers all the time. Some credit cards they're free, like through my bank or whatever. I pay no monthly fee for them or annual fee, but other cards do have an annual fee. Can you tell me what's the difference, and is there any advantage to a card with an annual fee?
Well, most of the cards with annual fees, well, I know I'm going to get in trouble right here because I think it's a Capital One card, has no annual fees, and they claim to have great mileage plans and all that. You have to look at them. I know most of the airline cards after the first year, they usually have an annual fee of $100 to keep accruing miles. And then it's up to you to decide, okay, am I getting enough miles out of this card to pay the fee? Or do I just want a credit card to have a credit card? I don't want to worry about miles. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So yeah, then there's the American Express, black card or whatever that costs you $500-600 a year. I don't know why I need one of those. It's just, I don't need to impress people with the color of my credit card.
There you go.
Not for $600 a year. I don't know that's the exact price, so American Express, don't write me a letter. Everybody's so picky these days. So, yeah, it's, you're right. If you open a bank account, which everybody should have a bank account, your bank will give you a credit card because they have your money. Um, and it may be, like I said, 100, 200, 300, $400 or $500 balance, line of credit. Great. Use it. Start establishing credit. It's very important because, even now, the car dealers, you see the ads for cars and it's like, zero interest rate, but you got to have a 750 credit score out of 850. So if you walk in and you say, well, I got 700, which is pretty good. Well, you don't qualify for our 0% interest. So it can save you money. And credit card isn't necessarily the only way to build credit. You can buy a car, get a loan from the dealership or a loan from your bank or credit union. Sometimes a good way to get established credit is through a credit union. They tend to be, I don't want to say easier, but more flexible with their members as to how they get credit and help them build credit, because they're a nonprofit. They're there to serve their membership rather than the other way around. So that's other ways, but the real key is you need a credit score to get any decent job, to get, even like I said, I know most of the big insurance companies, they run your credit score. You got a bad credit score, you're going to pay more for insurance, or they might not give it to you. They say, and I'm sure they have underwriting to back this up, but they've determined that somebody who has a bad credit rating gets in more accidents. May not cause them, but gets in more accidents. So all of these things are tied together nowadays, especially with computers knowing everything we do.
All right. So then we should get a credit card, spend it on stuff we need to buy every month anyway, and pay that off. Start establishing that great credit early on.
Absolutely. And it not only establishes it, but it helps you to learn how to use the credit card. Even if you get a credit card with a $500 balance and you go crazy, well, okay, you went crazy to the tune of $500, and maybe that painful experience will keep you going crazy with a credit card with a $20,000 balance when you've been working for a few years, and the credit card company goes, well, we're going to give you $20,000 balance on your credit card. It's always amazed me that they'll send me a credit card that says, okay, your line of credit is $30,000. Okay, what am I going to use it for?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people would find something, and I guess that's what they're counting on.
That's the problem. Sure, because they want you to use it. They want you to make monthly payments. They do not want you to pay it off in full. That's why it's so easy to use. But it's also why they have such big write-offs. Uh-oh, it appears Bill has frozen.
All right, Frank, you're starting.
Oh.
I hate to say it, but you're starting to freeze up over here.
Bill, you cut out there for a minute.
Well, I think that might be a sign that it's time for us to end this one then.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, my computer's telling me that my connection is unstable. So
Well,
thank you for joining us, and some great advice about credit cards, how to use them and how not to.
talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you, Frank. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.